This face sculpt looks literally exactly like me, and it's really weird. So I got a surprise the other day with these fantastic action figure face sculpts from DP Toy Sculpts, and they look exactly like me. DP Toy Sculpts is an incredibly talented creator and digital sculptor, so please make sure to check out some of his work on Instagram and on Patreon as well. So recently, I actually put out a whole video on how I made an action figure of myself, but I didn't really use a very accurate face. I just used some Power Ranger figure that kind of looked like me, and then I painted it a little bit to make it look even more like me, I guess. So Derek saw the video and took it upon himself to just make me a way better sculpt for myself. So he actually ended up sending me 4 different heads, 2 different sizes, and then 2 of them were actually already painted. He says that he's not the best at painting things, but I think he did a really great job. So in this video, I'm going to try something totally new for myself and actually try to paint one of these myself. The smaller one is just a little bit too small, so I'm going to actually try and paint this bigger one here. It fits perfect. So I went to the craft store, I picked up some flesh colored paints that would match my figure, and then I also made sure I got some really super fine paintbrushes. And I already had a bunch of other paints like brown, stuff like that to do the hair and that kind of stuff. The first thing I had to do was mix the paints as best as I could to find a color that would match the color of my skin tone on the figure as best as possible, and actually adding a little bit of orange was what did the trick. Now, I am no professional painter, nor have I ever done anything like this before, painting a face, so this is totally new and I'm totally winging it right now. So I started by just covering the entire head with this flesh colored paint that I mixed up, and hopefully trying not to get any crazy strokes or anything too noticeable. Anytime I saw any types of chunks or any pieces of something in the paint on the face, I just used a toothpick to try and grab it out. I tried to paint a little bit of a lighter hair color around the sides of my head to try to get that shaved head look and really make sure I get that forehead in there. Next, I painted the top of my head where the hair is a little bit of a darker brown color, and I'll also be using this same exact brown color for my facial hair, my eyebrows, and stuff like that. And anytime during the process where I felt there were some really strong looking brush strokes or something that just didn't look very smooth, I would dip my paintbrush in some water and then go over it very gently just to try to smooth it out a little bit, and it actually worked, I think, pretty well. After the hair was done, I quickly went over it again with the flesh colored paint just so I could fix any little brush strokes that I screwed up on the ears or something like that. And here we go. The skin and hair is actually completely done and it matches the figure, I think, pretty well. So now it's just the hard part with the details, the eyes, stuff like that. This is going to be tough. He even added these tiny little ear holes for my plugs, so I'm actually painting those black right now, just a tiny little bit. Then doing the eyes was probably the hardest part. I did more actually dabbing with my paintbrush in the white to get it in the tiny little holes, but in the end I think it came out pretty good after a couple different coats. So the eyebrows are a lot more important than you think, because if you end up painting them off or wrong just a little bit, you could completely change your expression and make yourself mad or sad or something, and we don't want that. So it's very important to be very careful with the eyebrows. So luckily I can't grow like any facial hair, so that actually made this a lot easier with just doing a couple little dabs and then I was done. Okay, almost done. Just gotta put the blue irises in my eyes, which is actually a lot harder than it looks because just a tiny little detail can throw off everything. And the very last detail was just to put the little black pupil in the middle of the blue dot there, and that's pretty much it. Okay, and here's the final result. It looks a little bit cartoony, but I think I did pretty good. I just got to add a little bit of matte finish coating around it just to finish it off. Okay, so the final result, I think, in the end, maybe could have been a little bit better, but for my very first time painting a face sculpt like this, I think I did actually pretty good. And I really do think that this looks a lot more like me than that other face did that I had on here before, and that's not because of my paint skills, it's 100% because of the awesome sculpt from DP Toy Sculpts. This thing looks really good. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd actually really love to hear your opinion, and also please make sure to check out DP Toy Sculpts on Instagram. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.